Yeah.
All right, guys, here we go. We just completed week 6, Flying High with the Birds, Philadelphia Eagles Talk podcast. With me today, I am the Godfather, and we're going to go in numerical order according to age. The Armenian Hammer.
Hi, guys. Finally, we have the whole team.
Yeah, finally. We had to carry it last week, Vahe.
Yeah, I know.
We got podcast chaplain, Jimmy. What's up, dude?
What's up, guys? What a great sports weekend that was last weekend.
And hopefully for the next couple. So, and we'll seal the deal, Sealy.
What's going
What's
on,
going
guys?
on?
I'm predicting a Phillies win, a Flyers win, and a Sixers win tonight.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, I would love in our next podcast to be able to get on as a special guest, the guy that was able to run out of the tunnel with the Eagles.
You and everybody else.
I mean, I'd love to get that guy. We got to find out who he is. We will get to the bottom of it. But anyway, let's get cracking here. Eagles are the only undefeated team in the NFL at 6-0. They beat the Dallas Cowboys 26-17 Monday night in a game that was also hotly contested. Same thing. They come up, they start with a big lead. They were up 20-0, and they were scratching and clawing when they were up 20-17 in the fourth quarter, but pulled out another victory. So I'm going to start with the chaplain here. Jimmy, break it down for me. Tell me what you thought of the game.
I thought they came to play, and I don't understand how they are so good in the second quarter, and then the other quarters, it looks like they just go through the motions. But what a great game that was. I mean, the Phillies win all weekend, and then the Eagles cap it off with that huge Sunday night victory. It did get scary in the second half. I was, having some doubts, but credit to Hurts and the guys. They start running the ball again, and what was it, about a 7-8 minute drive, and they went down and scored. And from that moment on, they controlled the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Say what you want about them in the second half, but just like the previous week in Arizona when they needed to, they pounded the ball, went down there, took time off the clock and scored.
Everybody talks about Hurts, but I think Lane Johnson is the most important piece on this team. Can you see what happened second half when he was gone? I mean, they couldn't hold anything, and Hurts was being pressured and he couldn't do anything. I mean, he was having a hard time setting up for the play. And I hope he's not going to be out for too long. But I mean, Lane Johnson is really, really important to this team.
Yeah, Driscoll really had a tough time blocking Michael Parsons. Parsons is incredibly fast. I'll tell you, honestly, in my opinion, in the last 25 years, he is the closest thing I've seen to Lawrence Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Yep.
He's just an amazing.
He's all over. He's a player you'd love to have.
And hopefully with Lane Johnson, I mean, this might be like the best time that this could have happened because, we got the bye week. So hopefully he'll be able to recover from the concussion by the time they're playing again. But I know I'm happy. I'm happy that we're 6-0, but I don't feel great about it. I'm so tired of the second half that we're just blowing leads. I mean, it just worries me. It's something that we really gotta work on. We gotta find, a way to make adjustments at second half when other teams are making adjustments against us. I mean, if we want to win in the playoffs, this is something that we really need to take a hard look at. And I think it comes down to coaching. It's not so much like the players, but I really think it comes down to coaching and the play calling. But yeah, I mean.
Well, one thing I've noticed, and if you guys go back and watch the other games too, when they come back in the second half, they try to throw the ball and whatever happens, they doesn't connect. And then they go back to running again. The same thing happened with the Arizona game. Same thing happened with yesterday, Sunday night too, right? They tried fancy stuff, it wasn't working, and they went back to the traditional run, and they just milked the clock for like 6-7 minutes. And the same thing happened with Arizona game too. So one thing that's good is that basically they have a good offensive line, and they're being able to go back to the well and keep running.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important for this
Yeah,
team.
it looks like teams are really like, getting after them in the second half. When they're on offense, teams are really blitzing a lot and causing a lot of pressure. And I think that's what's resulting in a lot of 3 and outs. And defensively, we're coming out just, trying not to lose the game. We don't want to get beat deep. We're playing a lot of zone. We're not blitzing. I mean, it's a tale of 2 halves, the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're a great first half team. The second half, they're just not. And I don't think it's the players. I don't think it's the players. I think it has a lot to do with the coaching.
Well, it was interesting. Normally when you have a bye week, they give you the week off. And Sirianni said afterwards, when he broke everything down in the locker room, he said they came into work the following day and nobody was happy. Nobody said anything. And he said, there's a lot of things we need to clean up. So we are going to work tomorrow. Then you'll have the rest of the week off. And I think he knew that, there's some things they need to work on, including, with the coaches, what the coaches actually need to do too. But, it's funny. The last few weeks, Hurts is obviously the guy that runs this team, even in the locker room. He says the same thing every week. He's saying we're leaving money on the table, which makes a lot of sense. But they win the game, but they're leaving it on the table, meaning that he knows that they can do a lot more. I mean, have any of you guys seen them play an absolute complete game for 4 quarters this year yet?
Nope.
No.
No, and it's scary. It's scary because I'm seeing a lot of teams who aren't as talented as the Eagles, but they're playing 4 quarters of football and they're real scrappy. Like the Giants. I mean, the Giants, I don't think are anywhere near the Eagles, like talent-wise, but they're playing 4 quarters of football. I don't know. I'm just worried, how this can play out later in the season if we can't play a full 4 quarters. I mean, we're not going to be able to just hold every team off like we've been doing. And Vahe made a good point. They're getting back to the run game, later in the game, and it's working. And why don't they start the second half like that? Like just show that you're still a physical team in the second half, and just put the ball down their throat by running the ball.
Another question. I mean, it happened so many times when you see the Eagles are 3rd and 1, and the other teams they blitz. Why the Eagles they don't do the same thing? They always playing prevent defense, whether it's a 1-yarder or the 5-yarder or a 10-yarder.
You mean on
That
offense?
part I don't get. Yeah, no. When the other team has the offense in,
gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
And they have the defense on, right? I never seen him. I mean, maybe he blitz once in a while, but I don't understand why Gannon doesn't blitz. Is this something philosophical, or I don't get it.
I think maybe that's still in his DNA. And it's funny because that was going to bring me to my next question, and that was the defensive line pressure. We're not seeing it again, guys. They have what, 1 sack in the last 2 games? 1 sack. I see Reddick getting pressure. I do. I don't see anybody else getting a lot of pressure. I mean, where's Josh Sweat? Where the hell has he been?
He's been MIA.
Completely MIA. But, and obviously, like, and Will and I go back and forth on this. Cox started out pretty good, but he's losing all his battles at the line of scrimmage anymore. The first touchdown that they got in the beginning of the second quarter, and I played this back a couple of times, they ran it on the side of where Cox was, and the right tackle just completely pushed him out of the way. And it almost looked like Cox wasn't even trying. And I'm not saying that he's not trying. I just think that he might only be at this point, maybe 60% of the player he used to be.
And where's Jordan Davis? How come they don't play him that much?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's really a big big guy. I'm surprised they don't play him that many snaps. I don't know why.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on with that because he's a first round pick too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he'd be on the field more?
I think he's going to be getting more plays as the year goes along. Like by the end of the year, I think he'll be a very big part of that, that defense, that defensive line. But I see massive changes in that line within the next year. I still, I know I predicted that Cox won't be it with this team at mid-year. At this point, he may have to be. But he's not here next year. Barnett's not here next year. I don't know if Teron Jackson's going to be here next year. I know Tui Peluto he's doing okay. I see him getting another year or two. But, all in all, I don't see the pressure that this defensive line should be getting.
And besides that, they have so many free agents next year coming up. I mean, one of the corners, right? Isn't Gardner? Who's
Bradbury.
Bradbury,
Boy,
right?
what a
I mean,
pickup.
he's going to be. Oh man, they need
Yeah.
that guy big time.
What a pickup
He's a
he was.
stud.
Wow, that
Yeah.
guy is amazing.
They're going to have to try to work something out during the season because if you let him go to free agency, you're not going to be able to get him.
Yeah.
And how about Chauncey Gardner? Isn't he a free agent too?
I don't know if he's a free agent. I know he was squawking for more money when he was at New Orleans, and then they was disgruntled and they let him go. So I would imagine that maybe he's up for his contract year too.
I mean, they need those two guys definitely. And
Oh.
TJ Edwards. Is
Yeah, and then Kaiser White. Kaiser
Yeah,
White's
oh
got a
my
1 year
God.
I
deal too.
think both of them will be back. One of them they're probably going to
Well,
lose.
I'll tell you, White's playing better every week. He is
Yeah.
a lot better player than I ever thought he was.
So do you
he's
agree
really-
with me? Kind of Edwards may be the odd man out then next
Well,
year.
I don't know, but I know that it seems like the offensive game plan seems to be going when he's in on the field. They're going towards like maybe a tight end or a guy like on a mesh when they do that mesh scheme where they go across the middle, go where he's at. And he's not the best cover guy in the world, but boy, I'll tell you, he's a really good short tackler, hard-nosed player, good captain. I like him. I don't know if he's going to be here next year, but
they need to bring Bradbury back with that guy.
Bradbury, yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
man, that guy's
Yeah,
amazing.
well, think about this: Bradbury, Gardner Johnson. Who else is going to be a free agent next year?
Kaiser White, right?
Kaiser White. That's correct. I'd like to see Edwards come back. As far as the defensive line is concerned, well, we already talked about that.
Let Cox go.
Cox is definitely not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
But he did start out okay. Like the first couple games, he did okay.
The quarterback's going to get a big payday too.
Oh God,
that
that's
too.
right. Oh my
Yeah,
God, I forgot
He's
about
not going to
him.
be on that $1
Yeah.
million contract.
And
anymore.
plus 2 first-round draft choices next year.
Mhm.
So that's going to be.
You know what? I would be surprised if they trade Saints to a first rounder or a couple of first rounder for the following year.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially if Hurst is the
Good
guy.
point. Yeah,
Yep,
that's a good
100%
point.
agree.
Well,
We were actually talking about that Sunday when we were watching the game. Like, I could definitely see Howie trading for a pick the following year. Why not?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's something. I actually watched the game on the NFL, NFL.com today, like in the down view. Hurts is definitely much better quarter. Even though he didn't have the best game in the second half, he really has progressed big time. Everything that he was lacking in, he has really picked up, and he's a natural leader. He's probably the strongest quarterback in the NFL. Who in the NFL does quarterbacks is more efficient at quarterback sneaks than him? Nobody. I think he's got 14 successful quarterback sneaks this year. He's the guy. And, Will and I have talked about this before. It's normally a quarterback driven league. What good quarterback play have we seen in the NFL this year? Besides maybe the 2 guys that played on Sunday, Kansas City and Allen and
Mahomes.
Mahomes. I mean, what other great quarterbacks are there? Burrow? I mean,
I
who
like
they at?
Herbert a lot. I like Herbert and with the Chargers.
yeah.
But you're right.
Oh, Herbert's good too. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he's
I
a
mean,
real-
Can you imagine Arizona gave Kyler Murray like I don't know $200 million,
yeah.
and plus the what's the name, the Denver Broncos, they gave $245 million. Oh my God!
he just looks worse and worse every week.
Oh my
He
God! He's
can't move.
done.
There's
Plus,
just
they have all those primetime games too. Every Sunday night or Monday night, it's the Broncos against somebody.
It don't
Oh,
look like the teammates like him that much either.
there's just a lot of bad football, and a lot of bad quarterbacks being, out there right now.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, the Eagles got to bye this week. They're 6-0. When they return, they go up against
Steelers.
Pittsburgh,
Pickett?
Pittsburgh,
they go up against Pickett,
Pickett, right?
right?
Or Trubisky,
Or
or Pickett?
Trubisky, right? Now, then they play Washington. Wentz is out, so it's going to be Taylor Heineke. They play Indianapolis, which is either going to be Ryan, who is god awful so far, or that second year, that small guy they got from the University of Texas. I can't think of his name. And then I think his name's Mills, the quarterback for Houston. That's who they got to face the next 4 weeks.
You got
So
the Texans too.
the Houston Texans. Yeah, that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. So they got 4 teams with very, very, very average, if that, quarterback play. So I think that stands in Eagles' favor.
It sounds like what you're saying is 10-0.
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I didn't think we'd be 6-0. I didn't like that Arizona game.
I'm gonna call 10-0 and a Phillies World Series.
Oh, this city would burn down, Will.
We're not gonna make it to the Super Bowl because you're right. The city's gonna burn down.
Oh,
It's so funny talk about the Phillies. So I follow soccer too, especially Premier League, and on every Saturday morning they have like the pregame show, right? So I turn the TV on and they're showing the pregame show, and people are wearing like a Phillies shirts. And I said, "Damn! Like all the way to England, these people watching the Phillies." That was in Philadelphia, Center City, by the City Hall.
Oh my God. Really?
I completely forgot that they had this show in Philly. I mean, they announced it beforehand when the Philadelphia got the World Cup city selected to play the World Cup games.
Yeah.
And then they said that they're going to have it one weekend in Philadelphia, the weekend where they're going to play the Dallas. I completely forgot about it. But it was such a coincidence. Like Friday night, the Phillies, they win, right? Saturday morning, I'm watching the Premier League, like a pregame show, and people having like a Phillies shirt. I said, what the hell?
Oh my God. Isn't that crazy?
It's funny. Oh,
I
yeah, this
know.
weekend was a big time
Oh,
sports thing going on in Philadelphia.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It seemed like that the Eagles' victory was kind of soured a little bit because of how the Phillies just totally dominated against Atlanta. And it actually looked from the very beginning that the Eagles were just going to blow out Dallas from the very beginning. But yeah, you're right. In all my years, I don't remember a weekend like this.
yeah,
Philadelphia sports. But
neither do I.
yeah, now let's stick with the Eagles for a second. Let's flip over to that offensive line. All right, we're starting to see some injuries, and it's becoming more and more evident to me that the most valuable person on this Eagles football team is, without question in my mind, Jeff Stoutland. The job he's done with those guys and being able to cross-train them at different positions. But let's look at some of these injuries now. You got Mailata that's been hurt. You got
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson that's got the concussion. The left guard, oh God, Landon Dickerson. He came out again for a few series. Now, the last 3 games, I think it's the last 3 games, he had to come out and get checked. So I know he's been getting dinged. And then obviously Kelsey got hurt and he was out for a little bit. So there's, we have to be careful with this offensive line because all these guys, do you think they're all going to last for the season?
I think they're going to be all right. Jeff Stoutland's, proven that he's an amazing coach. And what's good is, we've had a lot of injuries over the past few years, and a lot of these guys have gotten starting time. We also just got Andre Dillard back. He's not what we thought he would be, but he's pretty good. When he got to play last year, he was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Jack Driscoll's only going to get better.
Yeah.
They put him in as tackle. I don't think he was ever, playing tackle before. He was usually the backup guard. So
He'll go wherever they want him to go. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's only going to get better there, and he was going against Micah Parsons, so you also got to take that into consideration. I'm not as worried about the offensive line with the injuries. I'm just not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one guy you cannot replace there because you don't have a replacement is Lane Johnson. I mean, on the left side, you still have Dillard. You can basically you can go in. Even in the center, what's the guy's name? The guy.
Cam Jargons.
Yeah, he can do a decent job, but I don't know who can replace Lane Johnson. Yeah, Driscoll. I mean, he did all right on the left side, but I don't know whether he can do the same thing on the right side too.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Do we know what Mulata's situation is?
Well, he hurt his shoulder when I guess
You got this look at his shoulder, so they.
well, because at the very beginning of the Jacksonville game, Hurts threw that pick and the guy ran it back, and Mulata dove to try to tackle him, and that's where he hurt his shoulder. But he's a lot better and he's able to play. He still gets beat a little bit by Quick Rusher. He was having some problems there with the guy that was on him the other day. But still, I'd rather have him in there than anybody else at left tackle. But let's talk about the difference between the production in the first half to the production this team gets in the second half. Because it seems like it's like a failure on all fronts, even defense and offense at some points. You guys feel like it is more coaching, or do you think?
I think so. I think that the defensive coordinators on the other side, they're making the adjustments, and our coaches, they're not being able to adjust to the adjustment. And that's why they struggle. And then they go back to the proven, ticket, just run the ball. That's it.
They're taking the foot off the gas, obviously. And then, when they struggle and teams get back in, they're like, all right, you know what we do well? We're going to run the ball. We're going to pound it down their throat.
That's it.
We're going to eat up a lot of clock, and that's how we're going to win. We're going to score, and that's the game.
Yep.
It should never get to that, but that's what they're doing.
The Eagles right now I think they have 120 points in the second quarter.
Yeah, isn't
As
that
opposed
incredible?
to 21. So they've outscored their opponents by 100 points in the second quarter alone. And they can't score in the second half.
And then, isn't it the opposite in the third or something?
So my thinking is, and I think, Will, you had told me this, that one of the things about Steichen is that he's real good at scripting the first, 20, 25 plays. But then after that, that's where he always struggled in the past.
Yeah, the knock on him when he was with the Chargers was he was great throughout the week with practice and scripting the plays, but then when it came to him actually calling the plays, he would be horrible at it. I'm thinking maybe now he's gotten better at that to start the game because they say he was good during the week, so maybe he's able to implement those plays now for the first half. But then when it comes to hitting the locker room and trying to make adjustments for the second half, maybe he's not great at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You got to adjust to the
adjustment.
Defense. You have to adjust to the adjustments, and they're not doing that right now. Other teams are making successful adjustments against them.
Yeah, I think I think all the team really needs is to come out in the second half and just run the ball then. Just start running the ball to, slow the defense up, because the defense is getting after them. The second half, they're really getting after them. And Hurts doesn't seem to have much time to throw. He's getting blitzed a lot.
Yeah.
I think if you kind of, punch them in the mouth in the second half, it'll slow them up a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
The one thing that really bothered me in the Arizona game was every time that they were blitzing the entire second half, the only answer Steichen had was to throw those bubble screens. He did bubble screen after bubble screen after. It was like that's all they had, and that's all that kept being called. And they were successful, maybe slightly less.
See, the thing is that there's
50%
so
of
much
the time.
talent on this team. They should be much better than what they are.
Yeah,
I mean, talent-wise, because the thing is that you have AJ Brown. That guy is amazing. The guy makes this happen when there's nothing there. And Devonta Smith, and then Goddard. I mean, and then Sanders. There's a lot of talent on this team. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing that basically in second half they just go back to running, and and that goes back to coaching. Might be
It's,
game.
it's amazing too, like you were just saying, they have so many weapons on offense. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think Hurts only has 6 passing TDs. Is that right? Or is that, am I right? Or is that,
I'm not sure. It's possible.
I think he's
I
got,
would be surprised because
I think
second
he
half
has
is all.
6 passing and 6 rushing, like, which I was like, that's pretty, I was
Yeah.
kind of shocked by it. I thought I would think he had
He's got,
a few
he's
more.
got 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions passing this
But
year.
but the bottom line is when they come back to win the game at the end, he's in charge. He's the guy. And that's what I like. And he's just, you could see he's cool, calm, and collective.
Mhm.
There's everything about him I like. I love his character. He's got tremendous strength. He takes care of his body. He's very, very smart. And I could see him playing as an elite, as a higher level end quarterback in the NFL for well into his 30s. So I think they're lucky. I think they really panned out with him, even though every other draft choice from 3 years ago was just all slop. So they, but it looks like they won on that pick. But, he's making himself better. And that's, to me, what's most important. But
Look at Mahomes. I mean, everybody thought it's going to be like in the GOAT, right? It's going to win like 5, 6 Super Bowls. And he won one, and that's it, right? I don't.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, he was
He's
was amazing the other day.
Oh, he's talented.
He
Like,
really
I mean,
is.
he's a very talented guy, but I don't know whether he just doesn't put the time into studying the film games or I don't know what.
He's
He's
really
amazingly talented kid.
Josh Allen, without question, has the best tools in the NFL right now and uses them. I mean, great arm, probably maybe the best running quarterback, strong, smart, takes care of himself. He's going to be in the league for many, many years. And it's amazing that he couldn't even get a Division I college offer when he was in high school. Amazing how people could just miss.
It could be so nice. Eagles, Bills, Super Bowl. Oh my God.
Well, right now they just came out. The NFL came out with the power rankings. They're 1 and 2. Buffalo's 1. The Eagles are 2. Kansas City is 3. But when you look at I think I also saw that there's only 4 teams in the NFC with winning records. 4. That's
Yeah.
it.
And
Yeah,
2
who
of
really
them,
scares you?
yes,
They are
and
not
2 of them,
good.
the Eagles already beat. The only one they haven't beaten yet is Giants.
Is the Giants, yeah.
Yeah, they
And
beat the Vikings and they beat Dallas.
And the funny thing is, the Giants are 4-1 or 5-1, and they could be 6-0 because they should have beat Dallas. They were ahead in that game, and Dallas came back and beat them at the very end. So I think Giants are doing it with mirrors. I saw their game last week. They're nothing special. They're getting lucky and they're winning the game.
Baltimore gave them that game the same way
Oh,
Green
they
Bay
did.
did the week before.
Absolutely. And the Green Bay gave them the game the week before that. That's correct.
Same thing.
It's-
They're just, but give them credit. They're hanging around games and then they're capitalizing. But
Yeah, but it's funny. You got these teams that some of these teams spend millions and millions of dollars for these quarterbacks. And let's take the instance of who we're just talking about.
Kyler Murray,
No,
Russ-
Green Bay.
Russ-
Let's Green Bay. Okay.
Rodgers,
With Rodgers.
Rodgers.
They don't have anybody else because they can't sign anybody else. And the same thing with the Denver Broncos. They can't sign other players because the most of the money is spent, like a quarter of the salary of the team's salary is taken by the quarterback. So I don't think that's the good way to do it either. Putting all that money into the quarterback. 'cause
Yeah,
you can't
they
sign
gave
other
Wilson
players.
what, 10-year, $250 million contract, right?
It's
They're
ridiculous.
done. For
Yeah,
And he's
years.
like 34 years old, isn't he?
Who's
Yeah.
that? Denver?
Denver.
Yeah,
They're going to be done for
yeah.
years.
They're
He's got like a
screwed.
10-year, $25 million,
That-
$250 million contract.
That move is going to put them back maybe about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I agree,
And to
100%.
think that the Eagles really wanted him at one time, and it's another, and I'm going to tell you another team that could really have a problem with this, the Cleveland Browns. If Watson isn't anywhere
Yeah.
near the player that he was, the good thing with him though, is that he's like 26. He's
Mhm.
still young, but literally
He hasn't
by the
played in
time
2
he starts
years.
playing, will not have taken a snap in almost 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And they gave him, it was like 250 guaranteed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm concerned about. I would think that Roseman kind of knows that Hurts is going to be the guy here, and figure by March he's going to want to give him, give him a good, healthy contract. I just hope that Hurts doesn't try to be this guy that wants to make mega millions and just ruin the team. I don't think he'd be that type of guy, but you never know.
I agree. I think he'd be a team guy, take a team-friendly deal.
I
He's
think
not
so.
taking a team friendly.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, I'm
You
not
don't
gonna,
think so, Will?
No, I don't think so.
you don't think what?
He's going to take a team friendly deal.
You don't think he will?
I don't. I think he's going to get whatever the next highest paid QB contract is. He's going to be right in line with it.
I just don't.
45 mil a year? I hope not.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I
I
hope
hope he
not.
goes for I would hope he goes in the 30s.
Whatever Lamar Jackson is looking at right now, that's what Jalen Hurts is going to get.
Well,
If
Lamar is not
even
looking
better.
that good.
No,
Yeah.
Lamar's.
He should have
no.
taken the
He's
deal that
terrible.
they gave him before the season.
He's
Yeah.
still going to get paid, even if he goes somewhere else. Because
He
you can
will.
just look around the league. All the quarterbacks, there's a lot of bad quarterbacks. He's going to get paid.
And one of them is out now for 6 weeks with a broken finger in Washington. And he was making this year, he's making 32 million. And I think he's on the hook for another year for them. That's going to put them back too.
You know how he should get the general manager of the year award, honest to God.
No,
I mean,
no doubt.
I hated the guy last year, but all the moves that he made, it's like, honest to God, it's like really amazing.
Well, this 6-0 record has
I mean, it's not like,
Howie's name earmarked
but
on it.
yeah, actually, but the talent on this team is amazing. I mean, Chauncey Gardner, he got that from Saints.
Great pickup. I love
And-
that guy.
And I love Bradbury too. And I don't
Oh,
know what was
yeah.
his deal with Giants. I don't know why it wasn't working out.
He wanted a lot
think it
of
was-
money.
Yeah, I think it was a cap cut, right?
Yeah, so they've got some bad decisions. Now on the Eagle Eye podcast, Reuben Frank said that Bradbury's probably not going to be here next year.
Wow.
Someone else is going to offer him a boatload of money that the Eagles are not going to be able to afford. Put it this way, of those guys that he got that are making a big difference, one or two of them will probably not be here next year. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's amazing.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah, he's.
I think if they try to do something during the season, they can make it happen. And Howie has done some crazy things to change the cap around. I think they're going to make every effort they can to keep this team together just by how they're playing right now. So
Didn't he get the last interception diving in front of CD Lamb?
Yeah, and he was hurt.
Oh,
he
man.
got hurt
Right after he
before
got hurt.
Came out.
Oh
And then he
man, that
came
was
back in and got the-
oh my God, that was an amazing interception.
Oh yeah, he's got 3 picks already, and he could have more than that. I'll tell you, he's a
He
ball
got one of the
hawk.
game balls on Sunday night. Him and Hurts got the.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he's
Sunday
always
night
around.
game
He's
ball.
got ball skills, that guy. And he's very, very fast, and he anticipates. He almost reminds me of an Asante Samuel safety type player. He's like slightly built, but he's playing safety and he can pick routes. I like him. I'll tell you, man, he really energizes the team too. I mean, with his, the way he talks a good game, talks smack constantly. So I think that,
Is that Howie or Laurie?
I think that these picks are, I think Howie's getting, I mean, it's either that or scouts that are looking at some of these players and saying, listen, we have a chance to get this guy. And Howie figures a way to actually get him into the fold. So right now, yeah, I'm going to say that Howie Roseman, like two of the most valuable people on this Eagles football team right now are Howie Roseman and Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach.
Yeah, because if you look league-wise, I mean, which other team is like really shining? I mean, the Vikings are doing well, but I don't know because they did any special deals in the offseason, right?
Nah, what's his name? That guy that the Eagles should have drafted a couple of years ago was almost there. Him and Cook are the entire offense. The quarterback, Cousins, is a very, very average quarterback.
Right. He don't scare you.
Another guy that's got a massive contract and is not worth it.
He's one of the first ones to sign that.
He-
I think he's
you're
making
right.
like 35 million a year.
I thought it was like 48, but
Is it,
maybe
is
I'm
it that
wrong.
much now? You could be
Thought
right.
so.
Much.
I mean, that's
Wow.
ridiculous. I mean, you give a guy
Insane,
that much
right?
money. You give
How
him
do you
a-
win? How do you win? How do you put a team together like that?
Well, it causes dissension too. And I was looking at my Twitter feed and they had a thing where with Denver yesterday after their loss, Russell Wilson was the first one like toward the locker room, but then he turned around. I don't know if any of you saw it, and he walked toward the players coming at him, and he's like, slapping them 5. Some of them didn't even want to bother with him.
Yeah.
So I think there's already like tremendous turmoil
Yeah.
on that team right now. Well, then again,
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett is an awful head
You
coach.
got a $250
he's
million contract and you suck, and you want to
Yeah.
be my friend? Get lost, asshole.
It doesn't matter, but he's got a wife that makes more money than he does anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So, but before we wrap this up, any last minute thoughts? I know we got a week off. We can't even talk about our predictions because we didn't get predictions from Will and Jimmy this week. So we'll
Wait,
just-
it's their loss, man.
yeah, well, that's true. So
Just because they didn't give you the pick doesn't mean that we have to. Not
all right, then who did we have last week?
we both had the Eagles, right?
We both had the Eagles. I had them 24-10. You had them 27-14.
So what's the differential? You're 14, I'm 13. Oh, I win.
You're win. You're the numbers guy. So that gives
Yeah.
you
2 wins.
2. Yeah, there's 3 of us that have 2 win, and one guy has absolutely 0.
Well,
So-
time to step up, man.
Well, I don't know if that's
No,
gonna happen.
I'm just gonna keep being a homer and Eagles win by 50.
There you go.
And listen, I just gotta tell you, I was in giant supermarket that they had white bags. So, they have white plastic ones,
Yeah.
but they had the white regular ones, like the brown ones, the white ones. So, well, I think if you go like 3/4 of the season without a victory here, I think that one like a multicolored bag would be apropos for you.
I'm doing us all a favor. This is strategy. This way the Eagles keep rolling.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. But so the Eagles don't play again for 2 weeks against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh actually beat Tampa. They looked really good. They looked lousy the week before. Hopefully that's not a trap game. Is that game here?
It's in
Yes,
Phil.
yes,
Here,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
It's here.
And then the following Thursday they play against the
Washington.
Texans,
The
right?
Texans.
Texans.
They said it's funny because they said if the Phillies and Astros make the World Series, it'll be a game. It'll be game 1 of the World Series or something too,
Oh my God!
Something
Yeah,
like-
Wow.
the same cities.
or game 6, I think, something like that. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be a World Series game because they were joking around. It'd be a great Philly road trip.
Oh
A
my
friend of mine actually called me 2 hours ago and told me that he bought us Phillies tickets for Friday.
You're kidding me.
So we're gonna be sitting third baseline, lower level.
Oh my God.
It's a good friend, Will.
I
Well,
know.
did you
I
know?
know.
Yeah, I think there's an 80% chance of rain that night, though.
Yeah, I'm still gonna be there.
No, I'm only kidding. Hopefully it'll be nice for you.
It's supposed to be 40 degrees, I think.
That's okay. I mean, if it's not raining, and if it's not windy, it'll
Well,
be
that's
all
good
right.
for the Phillies because San Diego probably is
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
There you
Great
go.
question.
Bob. Hey, there you go.
you're
It's
gonna
a
be
great-
freezing.
Listen, I'll tell you what. Give me a prediction for tonight's game. There you go. We'll end with that.
Phil-
San
Phillies,
Diego and the Phillies.
They're gonna win by 5 today.
They're going to win by 5.
Yes.
Phillies get the game 1 win. Go up 1-0.
No score.
Oh, do we need a score?
How much do they win?
But everybody's gonna pick the Phillies.
Let's see. Phillies
Better.
win 5-2.
I got the Phillies 6-5.
Wow, 6-5. I think it's gonna be a 3-2 game. What did you
Ooh,
pick?
what's a good one?
Will, what did you pick?
So I said the Phillies to win by 5.
Oh, by 5. Wow. No, I think it's gonna be 3-2.
That's a good one,
I'm
Bob.
the-
That's good.
I'm gonna go 6-1.
6-1. Yeah,
Wow.
and how about that? Aaron Nola is playing against his brother,
That's
who's
gotta
the
be
catcher
cool.
for San Diego. Is that amazing?
That's gotta be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
That is amazing. So, but I think the Phillies are going to be ready to go. But the one thing about San Diego, though, is that they picked up, well, what'd you say, those two players from Washington?
Juan
Yeah,
Soto,
Yeah, they're good. They're good. And the
and
Phillies,
they got good pitching too.
they do.
They got
And they're
good
real,
pitching.
they're hot like the Phillies are right now. So
So
don't
the
count
over
them.
under is 6.5.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
for the game, 6.5.
They got
So,
good
well, you
pitching.
picked mine to win by 5, right? So it could be like 5-1.
There you
No,
go.
6-1.
No, 6-1. 6-1.
Just like I said, 6-1.
So, all right, let's wrap this up. Another one in the book. Thanks again for listening and watching.
No advertisement.
Nah, I'm not going to do that today. What the hell's the name of our thing? Oh, Flying High with the Birds, Philadelphia Eagles talk. We may not see you next week because we got a bye, so we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Wait a
All
minute.
right,
Next week we have to make the picks for the.
Oh yeah,
Pittsburgh game, huh?
we'll talk about what Pittsburgh did maybe. So
Okay.
okay,
See
all
you
right,
guys.
you got
There
it.
you guys go,
Later.
Phils.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.